It was the renowned Three Kingdom period of ancient China. Wei Kingdom's brilliant strategy, Sima Yi, led an army of 150,000 soldiers to attack a fortress defended by Su Kingdom's even more brilliant strategist, Zhuge Liang. The situation did not look good for Mr. Zhuge, as he had just dispatched half of his troops to collect wits, with only 2,500 troops left and no general at his disposal. Zhuge Liang's days seems to be numbered. This renowned incident can be found in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, written by Luo Guanzhong in the 14th century. Facing incredible odds stacked against him, Zhuge Liang did the unthinkable. In the face of imminent death, he hid all of his troops and opened the fortress gate wide, welcoming his enemies into his camp. This unexpected turn of events left Sima Yi stunned. He couldn't understand what was going on. Zhuge Liang, being the drama king that he was, leisurely sat on top of the fortress, visible to Sima Yi's entire army, and played an ancient Chinese musical instrument called guqin. This only left his enemy even more confused. This was far from the first showdown between Zhuge Liang and Sima Yi. Both were well-known politicians and brightest military strategists of their time. Sima Yi knew Zhuge Liang had a reputation of being cautious, full of tricks, and definitely not one to put himself at risk unnecessarily. Surely this was a trick to lure him in and finish him off with ambushes. Not this time, Sima Yi thought. Proud of his sharp senses, Sima Yi ordered his troops to retreat and live another day. This was how Zhuge Liang came to known to be the genius strategist who won a fortress defense against 150,000 soldiers, and a brilliant strategist using the 36 stratagems, stratagem 32, tactic, open gate. And the rest, they say, is history. Only then everything you watched so far did not happen. At least, not in any recorded document. There are many historical records written by Chinese historians from different times that were preserved wonderfully even today. One of them is the famous Records of the Three Kingdoms written by Chen Shou in the 3rd century. It covers the history of the late Eastern Han Dynasty in the Three Kingdoms period. However, no records of Zhuge Liang's open gate incident was ever found. You see, Romance of the Three Kingdoms was a novel written based on records of the Three Kingdoms. Romance author Luo Guanzhong was infamously known for his creative liberty in changing real-life events for narrative purpose in his book, in an effort to portray Su Kingdom as a protagonist and Wei Kingdom as the antagonist. Historical figures such as Su strategist Zhuge Liang and Su general Guan Yu were elevated to godlike status and came to known to achieve impossible feats that never happened or was done by someone else. The Open Gate incident was one of the many aforementioned attempts to shine a positive light on Zhuge Liang. But does that mean Open Gate tactics in battles never happened? The truth is, it did. Only it wasn't Zhuge Liang who employed the tactic. It was the infamous Cao Cao. The Three Kingdoms was actually a period of the late Eastern Han Dynasty when the Imperial and his government has lost control of governance over ancient China's land and people. The Imperial was effectively just a symbol of power. Instead, several warlords freely attack and claim their opponent's land in the quest to conquer the entire China, aiming to replace the Imperial and establish their own dynasty. After countless battles, 3 warlords were left on the battleground. They were Liu Bei of Western Shu, Sun Quan of Eastern Wu, and Cao Cao of Northern Wei, who was known to be the most cunning generals of the Three Kingdoms. In his early career to unite ancient China, Cao Cao was at war with Lu Bu, who was revered as the strongest of them all in the entire roster of Three Kingdoms generals. Cao Cao was caught off guard when Lu Bu suddenly attacked his camp. Cao Cao had just dispatched most of his soldiers to harvest wheat and was left with less than 1,000 soldiers when Lu Bu's army of 10,000 troops sold out. As you might expect, Cao Cao activated the 36 stratagems, Stratagem 32 Tactic Open Gate. He left only women in the camp and formed a battle formation with only a handful of soldiers in front of his camp. This situation confused Lu Bu. Upon inspection, his scouts found a huge levee to the west and a dense jungle to the south. Convinced that an ambush was ahead, Lu Bu ordered his army to retreat. Cao Cao quickly seized the window of opportunity and summoned all of his soldiers back to the camp. The moves made Lu Bu realize his mistake and he turned back to challenge Cao Cao again. Cao Cao, being the cunning general that he was, employed the same tactic and hit half of his soldiers again. Lu Bu decided that was the same trick and he would not fall for it again. He ordered a full frontal attack on Cao Cao's army. Cao Cao's army pretended to lose steam and started falling back. Lu Bu was exasperated and quickly pushed his army ahead until his army entered Cao Cao's ambush zone. Like a bolt from the blue, Cao Cao's army appeared and attacked Lu Bu's army on all fronts. Lu Bu had to retreat after losing most of his elite soldiers. If you think that was fascinating, I have an even better story to tell. This time, the victim was none other than Cao Cao. His opponent, one of the 5 tiger generals of Shu, the one of only Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun is always depicted as a young general in any form of media related to the Three Kingdoms. That's because he was the youngest member of the elite group of Shu generals known as the 5 Tiger Generals. Standing side by side with godlike figures such as Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, Zhao Yun nonetheless received full respect by them. That alone should say something about him. If there was a line to capture Zhao Yun's essence as a character, a comment by the elder brother of Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, and the founder of Shu, Liu Bei, summed it up the best. 赵子龙一生都是胆. Every fiber of Zhao Yun is made up of courage. So what happened when Zhao Yun, the bravest general of the Three Kingdoms, faced against Cao Cao, the most cunning general? At one point, Liu Bei and Cao Cao were at war to claim Hanzhong, a city that still exists today. Cao Cao's Wei army was transporting over 10 million bags of wheat on a mountain trail. The oldest member of the 5 tiger generals of Shu, Huang Zhong, took the opportunity and rode off to hijack their enemy's rations. However, he was not heard of ever since. Anxious of his comrade's safety, Zhao Yun took 10 of his trusty soldiers to look for Huang Zhong. Unfortunately, he bumped into Cao Cao's main army. Zhao Yun fought valiantly and retreated to his main camp. His lieutenants were in panic upon seeing Cao Cao's massive troops and urged Zhao Yun to close the camp gate right away. As you guessed, Zhao Yun did the unexpected and activated the 36 stratagems. Stratagem 32 Open Gate. The open gate left Cao Cao's army confused. They decided to halt and take a moment to observe the situation. What will you do if you were Zhao Yun now? Perhaps stalling for reinforcement would be the most logical approach. But Zhao Yun had a different idea. All of a sudden, the brave general turned offensive. He gathered the few soldiers he had and charged towards Cao Cao's army. His soldiers hit the army drums hard like their lives depended on it. Archers shot rains of arrows at Cao Cao's army relentlessly. Cao Cao's army was caught off guard and did not have time to assess the situation clearly. They thought they were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. Why else would Zhao Yun charge at them like that? Cao Cao's army crumbled. Soldiers abandoned their posts and fled in all directions away from Zhao Yun. Horses stomped on fellow soldiers. Even more soldiers fell and drowned in rivers. In the end, Cao Cao's army was defeated by themselves, and Zhao Yun emerged victorious. Indeed, only someone whose every fiber was made up of courage, who gambled his life, could do so with full conviction. As you may imagine, the open gate tactic can be applied in our daily life. Ultimately, it is a competition of information and wits. If you were at a disadvantage in a negotiation, but your opponent doesn't know that, perhaps an open gate tactic could turn the tides in your favor. Thank you for watching this video. If you like content from Asia, please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel. I will see you again.